Hello everyone, and welcome on back into the barracks. Today, I'm finally bringing you guys my thoughts and what should have been a first impressions on Shadowbringers. We're bringing it to you now a month later into the game, especially when Savage has already dropped. So, today I just wanted to go over my thoughts on the expansion and kind of compare that to my experience to what I felt in BFA for WoW, because I was there for BFA's initial launch. I was also there for Legion's initial launch, just like I was there for Stormblood's initial launch. So you might see me compare the two of them. In the back, you will be seeing gameplay from my stream where I was doing with my static a clear of Eden, and we also did some Titania primals with my raid static. As the day I'm recording this tonight, I will be doing Savage, so you might see maybe a video next week about kind of like my thoughts going into, or my thoughts so far of the Savage fights. By then I only might see one, maybe two fights. Maybe I might wait till I'm halfway through and I record my initial thoughts, as we would probably start prodding hopefully relatively soon on Leviathan. But today, it's just going to be gameplay from the normal. And you might notice that race changed from a Lalafell to a Viera. It's just for temporary. I wanted a change of scenery, and you also see some, alerts going off in the background. So I apologize for that interrupting the game if that would bother you. But right now, it's not about gameplay, it's about kind of just my thoughts. And this is going on in the background, because why not? So let's just go ahead and jump into it. My initial thoughts and my thoughts so far, being 1 month into expansion of Shadowbringers, is that I am loving it. I loved the story so much, and I could go on and on and on about the story. So let's just start there. How much I love this story. I love the characters and how they evolved from Stormblood. Of course, Stormblood introduced a lot of new characters to us with Yudiri and Lorhian and Gosetsu, Tsukiyomi, and that's her name. And this one, we're back to where we were with our fellow teammates, our fellow Scions, and they have been away from us for probably a few months. But of course, from the first to the source, it's been years for some of them. It's been for 4th Edward. He was the first one to go first into the first. I know that's a little bit weird to say. How many times am I gonna say first? It's gonna be a lot. He was the one to go who transported the first. So he's been there for 5 years, and in that time we also see a little bit of we have Minfilia, who we see more about her character, who she is, and why she looks so much like our Minfilia. And we just find out more about the First in general, and more about the Warriors of Darkness from Heavensward. I really loved how they tied that in, and I just loved the entire direction they had for this entire expansion. It was such good writing and such good storytelling that I can't believe how much they've evolved in terms of storytelling. Everyone always says Heavensward is the best storytelling in the world. To me, 100%, I think Shadowbringers beats that. We learned so much in this entire leveling process from 70 to 80. We learned more about the Scions, the Ascians, and their true goal. Emmett Selk was a lot of into it, the guy who's the one who created the Garlean Empire. And we learned about their true goal, and their true goal for this entire thing is not to bring just destruction and murder people. It's actually about wanting to resurrect their kind, because when Hydaelyn and Zodiark fought, Zodiark, of course, did not win. Hydaelyn did, and he was split across 13 different alternate timelines like ourselves. And the one that's the main one is the source, where we're from. And all of the Ascian's people, like the people who worship Zodiark, died. They got wiped out during the entire process. So, the Ascians are trying to revive that part of them. They're trying to revive their old society, who they feel as they're perfect. They think the people who were from Hydaelyn, who were created after when Hydaelyn defeated Zodiark, are just inferior to them. And they hide themselves so much, and Emmett Silk especially does. He values himself so highly, and he fought a little bit more of our character because we were able to slay all the Light Wardens, which also ties into more of the other part of the main part of the story with the Light Wardens. But the Ascians was still there. The Ascian part was still there. And after we had done all the Light Wardens, then we focused on that part for the last little bit from 79 to 80, and it was just a wonderful storytelling and wonderfully paced. I love that part of the Ascians have been such a humongous mystery, and all of a sudden now we finally find out their actual goal, and their actual goal is pretty sad, and what happened to them was devastating. And while I don't agree with what they are doing, I think anyone can understand why they're doing it. They're just doing it in a completely wrong manner. I also loved how much our character was felt in danger. Usually we can get through a lot of things and we would always come out victorious, but after you beat Vothri, it really hit you how fragile we are, depending on the circumstance. We absorbed 4 Light Wardens, and you're not supposed to be able to do that. If you absorb even one part of the Light Warden, you defeat one, you're supposed to turn into a Sea Eater. No ifs, ands, or buts. But we were able to absorb all 4 of the Light Wardens, who have immense amount of power. And we were able to contain it, and Emmett Silk respected us because of that. And he's noticing this power. It's like, well, maybe you guys aren't so bad. But then towards when we get Vothri and we absorb him, we start to turn into a Sin Eater. And seeing my character throw up the light and start the process of the Sin Eater, and may I add, the whole process of changing into a Sin Eater is actually terrifying. Watching someone go through that was probably the most disturbing part of this entire game, of this entire expansion, and Square went there. They showed us how you turn into a Sin Eater, and it is gruesome, it is disgusting, and it is scary. And seeing our character get ready to turn into one, and show signs of turning into one, was so terrifying. It made you really feel, wow, your character is not invincible. You know, depending on the circumstance, we could have actually turned into a Sin Eater and turned into one of the most powerful Light Wardens of all time and caused so much destruction to the first if we didn't have a way to stop this. And I really enjoyed that part. It definitely made me feel like my character is not this invincible person. She can die. She can actually turn into a Sin Eater if not controlled. But we had to do this. You know, we had to save the first. Otherwise, there would have been another Umbral Calamity on the source, and many of our friends on the source would have died. So, I just love the urgency and the sense of danger throughout this entire expansion. And the villain, of course, was Emmett Silk, was the main one after all of it. And then we had kind of the intermediate villain, which was Vothri. His backstory, when you find out that what Emmett Silk did to Vothri was so disturbing, and I don't know if I could ever come out like that, come to that conclusion like he did. And what you find out more about Vothri did with the Sin Eaters and the meal that he had and he would feed to people is disturbing. It was cannibalism. Let's just put it as it is. It was fucking cannibalism on Vothri's part, and feeding that to his people is so disturbing. I don't even know how to put into words. I couldn't. When you find that out, I was genuinely shocked that Vothri did that. I knew Vothri from the start would be a Light Warden, but to the extent of how he became a Light Warden and what he did to control his people is disturbing. But overall, I love the story of Shadowbringers so much. It was just actually amazing. Another part that's not just the story and leveling part of this, we also have some new features and some new changes to our loot system in a rating. For a while, it was for 3 expansions, for the entire game's life, we had these little tokens on raid bosses that you would get, and certain ones would drop certain tokens. So, like, the first 2 would drop accessories and belts, and I think maybe boots and gauntlets. I mean, and the final 2 would drop the chest piece and the pants, and I think a few other things that they would drop. There's probably more that I'm forgetting, but they changed that in this expansion. Now every boss has pretty much the same loot table. We all get these tokens as per normal, and each boss has one. So every boss, all 4, starting from 1 to 4, has a chest, pants, accessory slots. Some have, I think the first 2 have belts. I don't think the other 2 have belts. Helm, gauntlets, and boots. They're only 1 token, and then they'll start doubling depending. So like, there's first 2 like 2 accessory slots and belt, and then 1 boot, 1 helm, 1 chest, one pants. Words are hard. And then the last 2 have double chests and double pants. And that way you can get whatever piece of gear you want and not have to wait a certain amount of weeks. Like for a while you'd have to wait 4 weeks to get the chest piece and the pants, and you can get the other 2 in pretty much 2 weeks. Sometimes the same week, depending on what you're going for. And this changed to where you can pick whatever the hell you want now. You want the chest piece first week, you can get that. You want the pants the first week, yes. So I really love that change. And I think they even changed it a little bit in Savage. I'm not 100% sure what it is in Savage, but I know they changed it for Savage too. The other thing was the role quests. When they first announced them, like, wow, they're getting rid of class quests. Like, that was what made you feel, like connected to your class a little bit. But then they gave role quests, and they expanded more about the Warriors of Darkness. When you're ranged physical DPS, you follow the path of the Ranger in what's it called? Well, I forgot her name is. She's the cat bard girl. You followed her storyline through the range physical, and it was sad. It was really sad to see what she went through, and how she got to the point where she trusted the Warriors of Darkness, her fellow comrades. And you even find more about them. I think if you complete all of them, you find out about why they were raised as why their bodies, even though they're dead, why their bodies were sin eaters. And you also find about this like little mysterious one, because Edelbart, of course, is the one who follows you around for the story. He's not dead. He's dead, but he's still like wandering around as a ghost. He's our task for the friendly ghost throughout the entire expansion. I also love that from the story. But you saw that Edelbart was not a part of this group. You saw someone else who took his place during her adventures. And you also find more about her as well. And she's really interesting. I'm not going to spoil it if you didn't already complete it. I haven't even completed it or seen it myself, but it was very interesting. And I did enjoy the role quests. And even at the end, when you got through your role quest, when you get to 80, you have another quest from your class, and you have a little final a little moment with them. Like for Dancer, as you guys see in my intro, you're dancing with your little dance friend, your dancer friend who's training alongside of you, and that was a really cute scene. I loved it so much. That's why it's my intro. And I don't know what it is for the other ones, but I'm assuming they have some like something similar to that, where you have a little bit of time with your trainer or your person who trained with you or something like that. So I really enjoyed that part as well. Next one I want about is the raid fights. As you can see behind me, we have good old Titan. The raid fights are so much fun. A lot of them, at least for normal, are pretty self-explanatory. You kind of know what you're doing. Like for Eden Prime, the first one, You kind of know when she teleports all the way to the corner, you gotta get behind her or you're gonna die. And, you know, get out of telegraphs and stuff like that. Nothing really is, you know, fantastic until Titan. Titan was the one that's like, oh shit, what the fuck do we do? So, and you think you know about landslides, but you don't. And you think you know about the rocks, but you don't. And Titan really, like, changed how he was in the source. And Leviathan was fun, too. I really liked, I think my favorite one out of normal is definitely Leviathan. I can't wait to see it on Savage. I heard some things about Savage, and Titan Savage is so cool. I cannot wait to start progging on it with my static, but we're gonna be on that boss for a while. They added so many new mechanics to Titan and Leviathan Savage, and it's just like they're gonna be the ones that are gonna make or break a static. So it's gonna be something when I start progging on that one. So if you would like to see me progging on these Savage fights, I'll be streaming them every Saturday and Sunday night at 7 p.m. Eastern. So if you guys want to have some questions, see some fights, and see a dancer's point of view on these, that'd be the time to do it. And the primals. The primals are so far really good. I love Titania the most. I just loved her music. I really need her mount. But maybe one day I will get it. Innocence is something. He was definitely different. That's more of a fight where you need to dodge and pay attention to what he's doing. But once you get that, I'm starting to understand Innocence. I haven't done it in a little while, but I did start to understand what it was and what he was like his mechanics were. It's still a little bit. There are some where it's just like, fuck you, you're gonna die. But a lot of them were a lot of fun, and I really loved both of the primals. I think the start of the raiding scene and endgame has kicked off really, really well. And Savage, I cannot wait to go through it and see more of it with the mechanics. So it's gonna be a lot of fun with Savage. And of course, you can't have Final Fantasy XIV without some treasure maps. Treasure maps are just a great way to just take a break from the endgame and just have some fun with friends and get some nice loot and sell it for a lot of fucking money. I sold 2 things from the maps when they first came out on Tuesday. My FC did it on day 1 when it came out, and I got the enchanted lumber that makes the bed mount. Yes, they have furniture mounts. The new one is a bed, and it's really cool, and I really, really want it, but that's like a lot of money, so I'm waiting for the price to drop. I got that lumber to make the mount. I sold that for, I think, 4 mil. It was originally 6 mil, but no one bought it for 6 mil. Unfortunately, they didn't buy it from me, so I had to lower it to 4 mil. And they fired glass leather, which makes a level 1 glamour from maps. I sold that for, it was originally 6 mil as well. Nope, it turned out, went all the way down to 2 mil. But I sold both and I made 7 mil off of it, so that's nice hefty chunk of change. And the deep dungeons, even though they're really repetitive and just, you know, just the same thing over and over again, I don't know, there is just something how much I just enjoy it. I don't know. The actual dungeon itself is so pretty. Last time it was like, you know, like a little golden treasure vault under the sea or something like that. I think this one, you're in the Thoth, under City of the Thoth, I think. And I don't know, it's so beautiful, and the maps are just so much fun. And you also have a little gambling you can do. Whenever you have a chest and there's a chance for it to proc a gambling where you can get more loot out of it and more money out of that chest. It's like a high and low card. It's nothing like humongously big, but it's like a high-low thing. It's really easy to do. Sometimes you might get fucked over, but most of the time it's pretty obvious which one's which, depending on the card and the odds. So it's a cute little mechanic to add to treasure maps and get more loot from it. So I love treasure maps. I loved that part of the game. It's a fun way to just take a break from the game. Now that we've kind of thought, I've kind of shared with you my thoughts on Shadowbringers and my so far impressions of it, I want to compare that to BFA. I was there for the launch of BFA, I was there for the launch of Legion, and while I did enjoy playing both expansions, BFA's story, it was okay. Now that I think about it, I played Horde, so I went through with the Zandalari. It was okay. The zones were good. I didn't really pay attention to the story though, because it's not in your face like it is with Shadowbringers with the story cutscenes and the voice acting and stuff like that. Now that I think about it, I barely remember any of it, and I barely cared about it as much as I did Shadowbringers. I went through Shadowbringers' story so slow, and I did it at my own pace, and I enjoyed every minute and second of it. And BFA, I just run right to max level, and I didn't really pay attention to the story because you have to read all of the quest dialogue, and it wasn't as good as Shadowbringers, and I didn't enjoy it as much as Shadowbringers. I know it's just WoW doesn't really put story in your face, but even the zone story, I didn't really feel attached to. I know the Alliance ones had better zone stories than Horde did, but I just didn't like it as much as Shadowbringers. So to me, it's Shadowbringers is up on the story, and WoW is just like all of their good parts are in the cinematics and the books. Another thing is, I got so bored of BFA after the first month. I got tired of doing world quests. They suck. If you guys have not heard me complain about BFA's world quests as much as I did in Legion, I hated in both. It was nice for the first month, but then after that, I was just like, I don't want to do these anymore. I got sick and tired of it. I cannot do them every day. I even told myself I would do them every other day and do something else in WoW. But then there was nothing to do. Maybe the plus is a pain in the ass to get into because Rated.io is a pain in the butt, and it's so stupid, and I hated that, and I couldn't do Mythic Pluses. I had no friends on that were done do Mythic Pluses. It's like, what was I gonna do for half the time? So, after the first month, I got bored, and the only reason why I even still played BFA was for the rating, and even after a month into progression, I think it was a month into progression, maybe 2 months into progression. No, it was the first month. Into progression of, I think it was Uldir. I quit. I was like, my raid team was not making the progression that we should be, and I didn't like it. So, I quit before we even got to Defune, in normal. That's how much I was just not feeling WoW. And I got bored. I got really bored, and then I went right back to 14. The raid fights as well in 14 just feel so much better. And I think the main reason why I feel that is because you're not having these add-ons. You don't have deadly boss mods. You don't have Baitwigs. You don't have all these fancy schmancy add-ons to tell you what the hell is going to happen next in the boss. You have to know what it is. If I am in Leviathan, I need to know when that pool is going to come up. There's nothing that's going to tell me. I need to be able to see and look and know that, okay, the pool's coming up in Leviathan. I need to move over there. Or, in the second fight of Eden, I need to know that, okay, I have the telemarketer on me to explode, but there's a stack marker right there. I need to stay, and then once that's done, I need to go. There's nothing in add-ons that tell you this. You need to be able to see it for yourself and be able to react. And I feel like that is way better than just having someone call it out with the raid boss mods, like, alright, move to there. Well, you still have people doing call-outs, but you also have to know that beforehand. So it's a kind of two-way street in Final Fantasy 14. While in WoW, it just seems like all I gotta do is wait for my raid leader to call out, alright, this is happening, go here. Or this is happening, do this. Or Tank Buster, make sure you swap. But I'm not a tank, but either way. I don't have something telling me, alright, this is happening next, right? I need to know that this is happening, either by the cast bar or by an indicator on the ground or the boss. And in Leviathan Savage especially, they removed telemarketers. They removed it. You have to know this yourself. You have to be able to be aware of it. And Leviathan is going to be the biggest door to Titan Savage, because you have lost those telemarketers. The things that you had in normal, you've lost it. They're gone now. So I just think raid fights are 10 times better in Final Fantasy XIV. 10 times better. So much better. So the next thing I want to go over is I just have so much more things to do in WoW. In Final Fantasy XIV, I have so many more things to do. Gathering, crafting, gathering, and I have flying. That's huge. Gathering in WoW was so horrendously bad. I hated it. I hated every fucking moment of it. I actually despised it. It was just the worst thing in the entire fucking world. So, to me, gathering, crafting, Final Fantasy XIV, treasure maps, dungeons, raiding, I have so much more to do in Final Fantasy XIV than WoW. And I just, in general, right now, I love Final Fantasy XIV. Shadowbringers is an A+ expansion. So far, the best expansion that we have had as a Final Fantasy XIV community. It is definitely, to me, higher ranked than Heaven's Ward. And to me, it's just the absolute best that we had. And BFA, I loved WoW. I did for so long. But I can say, with this expansion, I enjoyed this so much more than I did in WoW. And I'm so glad that Square Enix listens to its community. It provides good content, and it just gives you a sense of, like, this is what we want our players to have and what we want them to do. This is Final Fantasy XIV, and this is our community. And you should feel at home and do whatever the hell you want to do. You want to craft and gather? We got Endgame coming for you in 5.1. You want to raid and PvP? You got that, right? Even if PvP may not be the best, you have it. It's there for you if you want it. There are people who do enjoy it. There are people who do, and it's there for you. And I feel like that is the best part about this. I love Final Fantasy XIV. BFA, WoW, that's a door that is closed and I'm probably never going to reopen. So, here's to Final Fantasy XIV, and here's to more progression, to raiding, to dungeons, to crafting and gathering, to everything. I'm here to stay in Final Fantasy XIV. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment what is your favorite part about Final Fantasy XIV Shadowbringers. And if you want to see more of me progging on Savage, make sure to follow my Twitch. Link will be in the description below. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I will see you all in the barracks soon.